G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I've just ducked out of work. It's lunchtime, it's Wednesday, hump day for some, but it's one of those wet old Sydney summer days, unfortunately. And it's been quite characteristic this year that each day has been either overcast or having a bit of drizzle. But it's been a wet old summer, and we're almost at the end of summer, a week to go, and it's been a moist old summer this year, unlike last year where we had bushfires, we had drought, we had all of those elements. This year is completely different, which once again highlights the beauty of Australia. We are a variable sort of climated land. It's an arid country, but from time to time, we have rain, we have flood, and we have periods of drought as well. So let's go on a bit of a walk and talk and basically go through a book summary. And today I've chosen to do a book summary on a book entitled The DaVinci Curse. The DaVinci Curse, and the author is Leonardo Lospennato. Leonardo Lospennato. What a name, what a book. So this whole book is basically focusing on what we do and our focus that we have in life. And the key message to come out of this book is that if we are changing paths all the time, we are not going anywhere, really. It's a big point, that one there, because I know lots of people who show lots of promise, who have lots of skills, lots of gifts, but can't seem to focus and stay on a path for long enough in order to gain some momentum and build a head of steam, which will deliver them results and a good reputation. And this is a problem that a lot of people have who have multi-potentialities. In other words, people who are generalists, people who are good at lots of things, excuse me, people who are good at lots of things tend to find life harder than most and are often quite depressed, especially when it comes to choosing their true calling. And the main reason for this challenge, for this pain that they feel, is the fact that they've got lots of choices, or they've been brought up in families or in environments where people keep on keep on stroking their egos, telling them all the time how wonderful they are at this and wonderful that they are at that. And you notice these days with the education system, where people aren't identified as being leaders in their field because everybody seems to get a prize. And what actually happens is that young children are fooled into thinking that they are much better, much more accomplished, much more skilled at certain things, when the actual fact is that they're absolutely bloody hopeless at it. But the system, in order to keep them happy, basically cheats them by letting them feel as if they are better, I guess, than what they actually are. So the author reminds us here of a very important point, that the world wants you to specialize. The world these days wants people to specialize. And if you have many talents, you naturally will believe that you just don't belong. with the internet, the author reminds us, with the internet and with the explosion of information over the past 25 years, it's become impossible to be an expert of many things. You can only master a highly complex skill if you dedicate yourself to it entirely. But as we said, the world likes people to specialise, but society also encourages people to dabble. Even from a young age, do this, do that, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, try and get a taste of everything. But, as we know, you become a jack of all hands, as they say, a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So, and as we say, in order to be a leader in your field, the author is suggesting here that you need to specialise, and at the end of the day, it's only the specialists, but not only the specialists who are at the top of their field who get rewarded for their efforts the most. So that's the first key point. Let me just change pages and see where it takes us. So the key message to all the young people out there, the people who are still trying to find their calling, still trying to find their way, is that you don't need, or you shouldn't be considering switching fields too often. Especially when things get serious or when you start facing criticism. A lot of people give up when times get tough. But I think the big lesson that we all learn in life is that along the path, any path that you choose to take that's worth taking and has worthwhile results and is something which is sexy and appealing, it's going to be competitive, because not only you want to succeed there, but every other person in your peer group may be looking to make a mark in that particular field. And each of these paths have a hump at various sections, or various phases along the growth and development of each of these paths. And that hump requires, as we've said time and time again, a level of momentum, a level of commitment to be able to get over that hump. Many people, many of which give up at that point in time, either because it's getting too serious, i.e. it's getting harder, it needs more effort, it needs more practice, or they face criticism from their coaches, from their parents, and from people who should be supporting them. So the important point to get here is that each field that you're in is going to get tough at some point, but unless you specialise, unless you stick to it for as long as you can, then you're not going to become really, really good at it. And if you don't become really good at it, then you're not going to benefit from the fruits of the efforts that are required in order to get to the point where it starts generating an income, generating a reputation, and generating a lot of fun and excitement for you. Now, you see it in sport, you see it in academic life, you see it in corporate life. I worked in a law firm, a top tier law firm, where every year 20 or 30 of the smartest lawyers gained entry into this firm. Now, we're talking about people who were the best and brightest at school, they were the best and brightest at university, and they are the people who are earmarked to potentially be leaders in their field. So the interesting statistic is that of all of these people, these graduates who come into this top tier law firm, and once you make it to the top of the law firm and become a partner, there was about 150 partners in this firm when I was working, and each of these partners was earning $1 million to $2 million a year. So the rewards were definitely there, and they were absolute leaders in their field. They had significant social circles, and they mixed with the cream of society because they'd made it to the top of their field. But one of the people who I worked with, who was in charge of managing the graduate program, told me one day that of the 100 graduates who joined the firm, only 1 or 2 will make it to the very top and become partner. Most of the others will find it hard along the way, will leave and go and join other organisations, pursue other vocations because they can't handle it, or they're not committed to doing the hours, because it's an industry, it's a practice, it's a profession that churns and burns. So the DaVinci people, according to the author, are the people who run away from competition and criticism. So we know lots of those people in our lives, and we too may have been some of those people at some point of our careers, or some point in our lives in sport or wherever. A lot of people are like that in relationships. The number of breakups, the number of divorces, the number of challenges that people face because they run away or they give up when criticism is too big, or the competition or the expectations are too high. It is sad, but I guess, from my perspective, I've been married 35 years. I've been with my wife over 40 years now in a relationship. And the lesson that I've learned, and the lesson that I tell everybody, is that relationships are tough. And you may go through a decade of fighting like cat and dog, night and day. During the years, those tough years when you're bringing up your children, especially if your parenting style is different, or you've got career challenges or health challenges or parental challenges. Who knows what happens in each family, but each family has challenges and each relationship has its ups and downs. But if you stick to it, if you commit to it long enough and get through those humps, get through those periods of intense criticism, competition, pain and suffering, then the best years are at the back end of your marriage, when your children have grown up, when they're married, when you've got grandchildren, and you've got time on your hands to enjoy each other's company and enjoy the fruits of your commitment and labour. Because the other big message that the author tells us is that if you switch too early, you're never going to get the feedback that you could get you to the next level, and you're never going to stick around to become the best or a leader in your field, or to get to the point where you can enjoy the fruits of your labour. So the big call to action here is to be patient, to be patient, to be committed, and to just stick to it, stick with it. Don't give up, because as we say time and time again as well, that the grass always appears greener on the other side until you get to the other side. I know myself, I'm not an easy person to live with, and I'm sure that the grass always appears greener on the other side. And as I've seen with a lot of my friends, a lot of relatives, You know, they give it another go, they give it another 2 or 3 goes with other partners, but it's never ever the same, and the magic of that first marriage, that first partner, is never sort of replicated. So the important thing here, the important lesson is to get serious with what you're doing, commit to it, and don't switch, because by switching over and over again, you're never going to build momentum, you're never going to build a head of steam, unless you're very lucky, of course, and some people do. But as the old adage says, if you keep on shaking the milk, the cream will never make it to the top, because it'll be constantly caught up in the thrashing of the shaking. So you've got to give things time for cream to rise to the surface and for results to materialize and to manifest themselves. Because the bottom line from this author is that DaVinci people are job hoppers. They go from hobby to hobby. They go from relationship to relationship, from sexual partner to sexual partner. And it just never ends. You know, unless they settle down, unless they commit, then they're never ever going to achieve fulfillment in their lives, and are never going to get to the point where they can look back over their lives and be proud of their efforts and to have something which they can call a masterpiece. So the final point to come out of this book is that we all need to, as early as possible in our lives, to find one complex single activity which forces us to use all of our talents. You know, to get into a relationship which will enable you to enhance all of your talents, to have a calling, a career that uses all of your God-given talents, where you can fully express them and achieve absolute magic and have a masterpiece which you can be proud of, and also be an example to others, because others around us, others around you, are constantly looking at you and hoping that you too can be an example to give us hope, them hope, and vice versa, to receive hope and be a source of hope, that there is love, there is potentiality out there for people to live their dreams and to achieve greatness. So thank you very much for joining me on Jim's 5am Club. I'll finish up now. The DaVinci Curse by Leonardo Lospennato is a wonderful book with some powerful messages. So let's finish up with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's stay committed. Let's stay on track, and let's make the most that we can of our relationships, our careers, our friendships, our health, and our life by sticking to it and not running away when the going gets tough, not running away when we get heaped with criticism, but just to stick to your values, stick to your purpose, stick to your calling, and just keep on going, as my friend Johnny D says, one step at a time, one day at a time. Yassas, Filakya, from Jim's 5am Club on this wet, old summer's day here in good old Sydney town. Bye for now.